paranormal, preternatural, and supernatural worlds that surround us.
Have you seen that
Here
Prisoners?
we delve into those topics that challenge us to think outside the limitations of realism, where we test the boundaries of imagination and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our weird realities.
Happy Thursday, Weirdlings. This is Hadley. I'm here with Scott, Rich, and Alan. And tonight we are going to talk about the many faces of the very talented and somewhat bizarre Nicolas Cage. So, Alan, I'm handing it off to you.
I'm gonna gut you, boy. That's got to be one of my favorite lines in a Nick Cage movie. And that's Scott's movie tonight is The Rock, right?
Yes.
The Rock. Hallie has Face Off.
Hey,
buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, pal.
He just wanted to show you his Batman outfit.
I got Batman running around the house. And
Nick
Rich,
Cage would make a good Batman.
yeah, he would, right? I wanted to play Superman, but that kind of just they made the suit and everything. Well, we can get into that later. Rich, what's your movie?
My movie is Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona. And mine is Season of the Witch. So we'll talk about as many movies as we can throw in this hour at you of Nick Cage.
Fortunately, I have seen all three of yours.
Great.
I did not get to rewatch them, but I've made a list of 100 Nick Cage movies that I will make available on our website. But I think I've seen probably at least 50 to 60 of these movies.
Yeah, right?
He's made over 300 movies. I believe. And I thought Travolta, I was like, well, let's see who made more, him or Travolta, because of Face Off. And Travolta's got him beat. But Travolta's been in the game longer too. You know?
Wow. I saw one thing that said 104 for Nick Cage and 100, then another for 100 was on IMDb.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe I got him reversed. You know what? I got him reversed. Travolta's got over 300 movies. I thought Cage would have more movies, but then I didn't take into consideration Travolta's been going since the 70s. So
Yeah.
You know what? I don't have any movies made, so I have a little envy. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Tony.
There were some that I was flabbergasted to see that he was in.
Fast Times?
I had I knew he was in Fast Times. I had no idea he was in A Time to Kill.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in the Cotton Club. I mean, there was a lot of that I just didn't know.
I'm looking at them now.
He is subversive. He's a subversive actor.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. Hey, Landa.
Hi, Landa.
I want to know which Christmas Carol and what role did he play?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. It's the same thing. He's in A Christmas Carol, 2001. Was that the one with Jim Carrey? When did he do? Or was it called Scrooge? Yeah, Jim Carrey made a Christmas Carol movie, but I don't know if it was called Christmas Carol or Scrooge. I don't know.
Now,
I'm going to head over to Weird Realities, our community, and I'm going to post this list so anybody like Tony who wants to look at it and Landa can get a hold of it real quick.
Nice.
Tony could probably give us a list.
Hey,
right?
Now, Nick Cage, he did make a Christmas movie called Lost in Paradise. I believe that's the name of it. I can't think of it. I want to say, is it John Lovitz, Dana Carvey? They're low-life thieves, and they're caught in this town. They're stuck. They rob the bank, and the people take them in this small town, and everybody's nice to them and stuff. I can't remember. It's a great Christmas movie. It's really funny.
You know, I was gonna say I have no idea what the hell you're talking about until you started describing it. Now I remember it.
It's either Trapped in Paradise or Lost in Paradise.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Hadley and I were debating. They have him listed in Grindhouse.
Yeah, they had him listed in Grindhouse.
Wow.
Do you remember him in any of them, or was he in one of the previews?
Oh, maybe he was in a preview.
I don't know.
But we've talked about Grindhouse twice now, and none of us have even picked up on it.
That is true.
So now I'm going to go back and watch it.
8mm. That is so dark. That's one of his darkest roles I made. Oh, was that Trapped in Paradise, Lander, or was that 8mm?
Oh, I remember 8mm now. Oh my God, yes, the ending of that.
Oh yeah.
Now, which one was 8mm? Because I know I saw it, but I can't remember it.
That was the one where he was tracking down the porno serial killer.
Yep, Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. You had to take a shower after watching that one.
Oh.
Nicolas Cage was Fu Manchu. It was a commercial on the Grindhouse. I just looked it up and watched like 3 seconds of it playing. So.
Oh man, I wish of all the movies they made from those, why didn't they make Nicolas Cage as Fu Manchu?
Right, that'd be great. Well, let's start out on our movies. Let's get our movies going, and we're going to start tonight with Hadley.
All right. Well, I watched I suggested that we watch the classic Face Off with Nick Cage and John Travolta. And John Travolta plays this lawman. I'm assuming he's FBI. I'm not really sure. That his son is killed by the Nick Cage character, which I believe his name was Castor Troy. Is that it?
Yep, Castor Troy.
And let me just stop for a minute and have a fangirl moment over John Woo. I love John Woo. I love John Woo movies. And this movie, the whole reason I wanted to go see it was John Woo. And if you watch it, it has some of the most beautiful cinematography you will ever see. And there's just little things that he does. And y'all know I watch martial arts movies and, I really like the Asian flicks and stuff. So I saw a lot of stuff that was borrowed from that and brought over into this movie. And that's actually one of the reasons that Nicolas Cage made this movie was to work with John Woo. So that was great. John Woo wanted him. They had originally wanted Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger to take these parts. Then the studios were wanting Harrison Ford and I think Bruce Willis. I mean, it was but John Woo really wanted John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, and he got them. He had to fight to have, is it Joan Allen in the role? They wanted a younger woman, but that's who he wanted. He made some really smart choices, I think, and it makes a lot of the beauty of this movie. But which again, I don't know if y'all rewatched it or not, because I know that there were so many movies to pick from. It was really just a shot in the dark. But Castor Troy, when in the very beginning of the movie, like he gets out of the car and he goes over and there's like the wind's whipping his coat and it's just beautifully shot. And they open up this case and the case has these 2 gold revolvers. Well, I don't know if it's pistols. Whatever. They're guns. Okay. So they're cool. And this is probably one of the first movies I ever saw the Florentine gun shooting. Which, you know what I mean when I say Florentine gun shooting, right?
Yeah.
So
no,
it's with the like if you ever watch it.
With sword play, Florentine is when you fight with 2 swords instead of a sword and a shield.
If you watch any Chun Yao Fat movies that John directed, it's his 2-gun.
Hey, Tina.
Hey, Tina.
Oh, that okay,
yeah. It's really cool.
It is, and this is again, I think the first time this was brought over, and I could be wrong, and Tony can correct me, but it's the first time I saw it where it was brought over. But now it's like gangster style, and that's why everyone has the 2 guns, and you do them sideways and all. But I think it's a John Woo thing.
Yeah, Hard Boiled, that was a big one with the 2 guns.
Chow Yun Fat was actually supposed to be in this movie, but he had a contractual obligation elsewhere and couldn't do it. But there is an Asian FBI agent that's played by a lady that was supposed to be, it was written for him.
Oh.
Hey, Whitney.
So,
hey, K-Jack.
Hey, K-Jack.
Hey, Whitney.
And it was, so back to the story. So the story is, this Castor Troy is this evil bad dude, and him and the John Travolta character really don't like each other. And then he goes and he's going to try and take a hit out with a sniper rifle and shoot the John Travolta character, hits him, but also hits his child, kills his child, which sets a burning fire of vengeance within John Travolta. And he gets a hard-on for going after this guy. And he makes him and everybody that is in his life just pay for it. And it's at the beginning of the movie, it seems like the end of the movie because, there's this big high dollar shootout and chase and all this stuff, and it ends up with Castor Troy being caught. He's in a coma, and they put him in the doctor's office, whatever. And his brother, however, is the one who is in like put in prison somewhere, and they have found out that there is like a massive weapon of mass destruction. I think it's a chemical bomb or something that's going to go off in LA, and they have to find out when and where so they can find out. Well, someone's smart idea was let's take Castor Troy's face and put it on John Travolta of all people, because that's not like going to mess him up mentally, right? And then we're going to send him in to talk to the brother, and then we'll find out where this is. So that's the whole premise of this movie. And what could possibly go wrong? Well, it does. He gets into the he gets into the prison, which is like this super uber secret prison that's off the grid. It ends up being, I think, like on an oil rig platform out in the middle of the water.
Yeah.
No one knows that you're there. It's very, it's again one of those places no one knows. Well, while he's there, of course, Castor Troy wakes up. He doesn't have his face. He's like, "Oh fuck, what's happened?" He, being the criminal mastermind that he is, goes into the doctor's office, smokes a cigarette, watches the procedures, and decides he wants to put John Travolta's face on. What could possibly go wrong from here? His lackeys come. Anybody who knew about this uber secret operation, he sets on fire and kills. So no one knows John Travolta with Nicolas Cage's face is in the prison, except now Nicolas Cage or Castor Troy. And this is where the fun begins, kids. I'm not going to give any more spoilers because I've already done more than I usually do. But oh my God, this is a good movie, and it shows the talents. I was reading up on it, and John Travolta and Nicolas Cage spent like 2 weeks before the movie got made, and they sat and decided like what traits they were going to copy and mimic and things like that. So they really worked together. And I remember going to see this at the theater and being blown away by how good Nicolas Cage does where he does John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage. Yeah. I think I might have it all wrapped up in my head, but I don't know if I say it right. But you know what I mean. Anyway, it's a great movie. And again, just for the visual effects, it's worth watching. They wanted to green screen some shots, but they were like, "Oh no, let's blow up everything in the harbor." There's this great boat scene.
John Woo.
It's John Woo. Yeah. And it's a John Woo movie. So after watching this, I saw where they had where Nicolas Cage and John Woo had worked together on Wind Talkers. So I went and watched Wind Talkers after that, just to kind of compare them. And I had no idea that John Woo actually directed Wind Talkers, by the way. It was not as phenomenal as it's a good movie, and I really liked it, but it wasn't a shoot 'em up like Face Off was. So anyway, I loved it. I don't, if you got a chance to watch it, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I don't know. Like I said, there are so many Nick Cage movies to pick from. It was just a hard pick this week.
Would you say there's a plethora?
A plethora? I can't even say plethora.
A plethora. Oh, this was a fun movie. We went and saw it at the theater when it came out, and it was a big movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like several movies in one.
It is.
It's all over the place, but it makes sense, and it keeps your attention, and you just watch the acting. And Nicolas Cage does what Nicolas Cage does best. Mm-hmm. And Travolta followed right along. I think he followed his lead because he did actually a good job. I mean, Travolta's not a horrible actor, but to keep up with Cage, which Cage goes up and down. I mean, Cage can be awesome, and then he goes into that, I'm going to get you, son, So I love this movie. It's a lot of fun.
It is. And just so before we go, before I hand it off to Rich and Scott, Nicolas Cage actually said that this was his favorite movie he's ever made. Now, I don't know if that holds true since he said that because he's made a bunch of movies. But at one time, this was his favorite movie that he's made. And I thought that says a lot about him as a person, doesn't it?
Well, he said that when they started this movie, the beginning of this movie, when he was dressed like a priest, and he's just outrageous doing that, and then he goes over. And Travolta's wondering, what kind of movie are we going to make? And then Nicolas Cage grabs that girl, and John Travolta goes, "Okay, that's the kind of movie we're going to make." That's like Cage's own words there.
Cage did not originally want to make it because he did not want to be the bad guy. And they go, "Oh, but you're going to spend a large part of this movie
as the good guy."
Yeah. So he's like, "Okay."
And that's what threw it for me. I mean, this is a great movie, and I think the best part of this film is watching those two guys play each other, because like you said, Hadley, I didn't know that they'd spent time together learning each other's mannerisms, but it really makes sense when you say that, because they nailed each other. They just Cage played Travolta with his mannerisms just perfectly, and Travolta was actually really good playing Nick Cage. The way with that the shit Alan just did with it was perfect, and they I think they nailed it.
They did.
I think Travolta is grossly underrated as an actor. I still think he's got the stigma of Saturday Night Live and Welcome Back, Kotter. I love Travolta. I'll watch anything he's in. And I agree with you. That was the best part of the movie. Watching Travolta play Nick Cage, watching Nick Cage play Travolta, they were perfect. You could just see them. They took just enough of each other's personality to make it different. For the crap movies they've made, they're brilliant actors. I love it. And like you said, it's a shoot 'em up, it's action adventure, it's got a hint of science fiction.
Yeah, it was a Freaky Friday. It was
Yeah.
a Freaky Friday with bullets. It was great.
And this originally was supposed to be a science fiction, like futuristic movie set in place in the prison.
Oh, okay.
And they changed it to make it modern, which was interesting choice, I think. But who was the big dude in it? There was like the big dude. He was one of he was like a drug dealer or something. It was Gina Gershon was his sister.
I don't remember.
He was like some big Hollywood actress's son, and he does a lot of screenwriting. I think he wrote The Notebook or directed it.
His dad was a director and an actor, and his mom was Gina Rollins.
Yes.
And his name's Nick Cassavetes.
Yes.
Nick Cassavetes. Yes.
Well, he did a great job in it too. I mean, it was a really good cast. Joan Allen did great. I mean, it was a solid movie.
And it was different. So I mean, I hadn't seen a movie like that before, except for Freaky Friday, but I didn't because of John. And it had doves in it, so you can't go wrong. Guns and doves.
Yeah.
Gold guns and flashy clothes, which again, the flashy clothes always makes me think of John Woo too.
Who? John Woo. So what do we give this movie? Scott?
4.8.
All right. Rich?
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 just because of what I said before. They acted perfectly when in regards to each other.
Hadley?
I'm going to go with Scott and give it a 4.8. I love this movie. And like I said, it's a lot of times, and I did compare it to Windwalkers, which did not hold up, but this movie kind of held up. And it had some great shots. And like I said, I love John Woo. So if you like cinematography, there's some beautiful shots in this movie. Yeah, you'll enjoy it no matter what. But if you have an eye for that sort of thing, you will really like it.
That is true.
Windwalkers is a great war movie. Sucks as a historically accurate movie. So
yeah, it is a good war movie to watch for entertainment purposes. Right. Scott, how about let's do The Rock?
The Rock. I love this movie. This is one of my top favorite movies of Nicolas Cage. Starts off with Ed Harris plays General Francis Hummel, and his team of disgruntled military personnel. They take over Alcatraz, the Rock. They take all the visitors and the tourists hostage and make a declaration. I don't remember the declaration exactly, but it's like they come out and say, you know, our comrades have fallen. You people send them to war to die. You don't even, you know, you don't do anything for them. So they demand, you know, this huge, they demand this huge ransom. Otherwise, they're going to release chemical weapons into downtown San Francisco and destroy millions of people. And the tourists and the visitors there are the security. So they just don't bomb the hell out of the island to get rid of them. Nicolas Cage is brought in, Stanley Goodspeed. He's the FBI agent who has to go in and get them. The problem is nobody knows anything about Alcatraz. Only one person, Sean Connery, John Patrick Mason, a British national who has been in jail all of his life because supposedly he knows all of America's worst secrets.
What secrets?
Uh-oh.
You're not going to hear those secrets.
Those secrets are gone. Who killed JFK? The alien landings at Roswell?
Them up while he was a British spy. I know. This happens. This is like the second time it's happened. This is the second time it's happened when I've talked about national secrets. So you can't tell me the NSA isn't listening.
I always feel like
so the only person who ever got away from Alcatraz was Sean Connery. So they're trying to convince Sean Connery to go back in, to lead the crew in, and help them overpower the terrorists and save San Francisco. Simple plot. It goes wrong at the very beginning when Sean Connery sees this as his way to escape, and there's like this 20-minute chase scene through San Francisco that's pure Michael Bay.
Yep.
It's funny, it's action-packed, but they eventually convince him to go, and you got to watch the movie. It's an action-adventure movie, but it's got a great cast. Ed Harris, David Morse, and Tony Todd are among the terrorists. Sean Connery's perfect in this movie. The asshole FBI agent is John Spencer, who's always plays an asshole in every movie he's in. It's great, but what I loved about it was the two emotional scenes when Sean Connery meets his daughter, and rather than bust in and be an idiot, Nicolas Cage goes in and, sorry, man, we have to take your father. He's helping us on something very special. He actually gives him some respect and a way out. Right. The other scene that I love is when the crew that goes in has the showdown with David Morris's crew.
And you notice that was Michael Biehn.
Yep.
Was the leader.
That's right. Yes.
That's the third time he's played a Navy SEAL in movies.
Well,
and I love that scene because you felt the emotion. Right. Neither side wanted to shoot the other side, but neither side could back down.
Yeah.
So it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite Nick Cage movies. It's one of my favorite Sean Connery movies. If you haven't watched it, sit down, lay back, grab some popcorn if there's any available, and enjoy it. It's fantastic movie.
It's got one of my favorite lines in a movie. I'm gonna gut you, boy.
Yeah.
I love that.
And the ending is beautiful.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I love that. Her yelling at him. Come on, baby.
So, do you want to know who killed JFK?
Let's go, baby. Yeah, I love that. To me, it's one of my favorite Nick Cage movies too.
Yeah,
it's really just enjoyable. I mean, Michael Bay really put this one together well. it tugged at your emotions, like when the SEAL team comes up to the floor and the other guys are above them, you're like, and that's a really good scene. But it's a fun movie.
I agree. That one really tugs at my heartstrings because you've got the reason they're there, the reason that the terrorists are there are to provide money to the families of these former Marines, these dead Marines who had gone into outside their jurisdiction trying to do missions. And when they get killed outside of American jurisdiction, that's it. They're disavowed. Yeah. So I get what they were doing. I mean, I don't agree with how their methods, but when they're pointing their firearms down at Michael Baine's SEAL team, and Michael Baine's SEAL team is pointing back up, and you're like, you just know everybody's gonna die, and you're like, oh man, you got good guys shooting at good guys, and it was just sad.
Yeah. And when Cage tells that last SEAL, "Don't go up," and he's duty bound, gonna do it.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. And it had the American flag scene that Michael Bay always puts in there. People looking up. Michael Bay, his movies always have a flag in it, American flag in it, people looking up, a scene of Americana at least in it, which are great. They always tug at your emotions there. Good pick, Scott. Good pick.
That Ed Harris has, he presses the button to launch one of those missiles into San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have 2 tidbits of trivia for y'all.
Ooh.
One, the script for this was very straightforward and serious. All the stuff that made it funny was improvised.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't surprise me.
2.
Well, I've seen. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I've seen Sean Connery on Jeopardy, so I know he's funny.
He's like Stephen Kenny, the Scotsman.
You're talking the Saturday Night Live Jeopardy.
Yeah, I was talking Saturday Night Live.
2. Quentin Tarantino was an uncredited screenwriter for this movie.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I did know.
I didn't know that.
Connery was James Bond during his missing years.
I've heard that. In fact, I just read a thing on that, and Michael Bay denies it, that it was a disgraced James Bond, Sean Connery's character. And Michael Bay has denied it, but you know what? It fits.
It does fit.
Kind of does, yeah.
It does fit. It's cool, kind of cool.
This to me was Nicolas Cage in his heyday when he was everything he was doing was turning to gold. It is a classic movie. It was a good pick, Scott, but honestly, I really thought you were going to pick Con Air.
Which is another. It's the same movie.
Yeah.
I thought about Con Air, but the difference is Con Air is pure fun. This movie, half of what makes this movie is the actors.
Yeah.
I mean, even the bad guys, you love them.
Well,
I did love them, Scott.
It's
like Mona said, they're watching you, Scott.
I know
they are. I don't like bad guys.
There you go. Ed Harris, like Mona said, Ed Harris is a great actor, and he did. He killed it in this.
Yeah,
he's not in enough stuff.
All of the actors in this were ironclad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Tony Todd did Candyman himself. Did a great job. He nailed it. Bokeem Woodbine, the other crazy sergeant, he did a good job. I mean, it's a great flick. It's fun. I watched it before the show, before we were even going to do the show. I watched it.
Well, I'm telling you that I wanted to go back and watch it, but there was other stuff I wanted to watch too. So it was just this week is what we could do. Nick Cage once a month for a year.
I know.
Yeah,
we could.
Yeah,
I had watched both this and Con Air about maybe a month and a half ago. I was like, I'll watch a couple of Nick Cage flicks. I don't sleep, so I was up. It was like 3 a.m. Throw on some Nick Cage, and I had watched both of those. So good pick, Scott.
Good pick.
Thank
Great
you.
Pick. Well, so what would you give this?
Mike?
Hey, Mike.
So what would you guys give this?
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Mark.
Me, 4.9.
Okay, Hadley.
I'm gonna give 4.5. I love this movie. I didn't feel like I needed to rewatch it, but now I want to. Add it to my Nick Cage list.
I'm going to give it a 4.8 because I love everything about this movie. This and Con Air are two Nick Cage. Yeah. Two of my Nick Cage movies.
I would give it a 4.5. And that's a solid 4.5 because I love this movie too. It's one you break out every once in a while and watch. You don't even have to watch the whole thing. You can watch parts of it.
Yeah.
So Rich,
a lot of his movies are like this. And then he has the gamut of, and we didn't really pick the bad. I mean, that's what we need to do. Then next week we should do just bad Nick Cage movies.
Yeah.
There's plenty of those.
Yes, there is. There's a plethora.
Rich,
how about yours?
Oh man, I picked Raising Arizona. I wanted to go old school Nick Cage. It was one of his first movies. I'm going to look at Hadley's list here, and
it
looks like his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, his 10th movie. It was 1987. Wow. It's a film about idiots, really. Everybody in the movie's a moron. That said, most of the morons are happy or too dumb to know they're miserable, and that's a good thing. Yeah. It stars Nicolas Cage, Holly Hunter, John Goodman, Frances McDormand, and has a smidge of Randall Tex Cobb.
Yes.
It was written, directed, and produced by the Coen brothers, who Nicolas Cage did work for a few other times. And the sarcasm and light humor, combined with a fast pace and a stellar acting, make it a really funny and memorable movie. Hy McDonough, who's played by Cage, is a convenience store robber, and he's not good at it. During multiple stays in prison, he meets prison guard Ed, played by Holly Hunter, who's another one of my favorite actors. And they eventually get married and figure out that Ed can't have children. As luck would have it, quintuplet babies are born to a very wealthy man named Nathan Arizona. And Hy and Ed decide that they need to steal this baby because, I mean, nobody's going to miss 1 out of 5. They kidnap the kid, try to make a home for him, but 2 of Hy's former jailbird buddies, the Snoat brothers, have broken out of prison and they need a place to stay. The idiot escaped convicts, played by John Goodman and William Forsythe, along with Hy's new boss, Glenn. I can't remember who played that guy, but I've seen him before.
Sam McMurray.
That's who it was. Sam McMurray, you're right. They screw up everything for the McDonough's new family, and Glenn threatens to turn Hy in as he's figured out that the kid is a kidnappee. The Snoats kidnap the kid from the kidnappers, and Hy has to chase them down. The whole time, this feared biker dude, Leonard Smalls, who's played by Randall Tex Cobb, he's a martial artist, fighter, boxer guy from the 80s. I guess he was pretty badass too. They said he had the hardest chin of any boxer. He's trying to nab the kid for the father, Nathan Arizona, and a $50,000 fee. And Smalls decides to sell the baby on the black market when the father doesn't want to pay up. The kid's got to be super lovable because the Snoats decide to keep him, but they bungle a bank robbery. Actually, it was 2 robberies: it was a convenience store robbery and a bank robbery. And they leave the baby behind where Smalls, Randall Tex Cobb, picks him up. Hy and Ed arrive. They fight Smalls. Ed grabs the baby. Hy gets his ass kicked, but wisely pulls the pin on a grenade that's attached to Smalls' shirt, to Smalls' jacket, and the bad guy goes boom. Hy and Ed feel terrible about, kidnapping the kid, so they try to sneak the baby back to the house, but they're caught by the dad, and the dad feels bad for them and decides not to turn him in. The Snoats realize they're not ready for society, return to prison, and Nicolas Cage starts to dream about the future. That's pretty much it. It was filmed in 10 weeks. It only took 10 weeks to make the movie, and it made almost $30 million at the box office, even though it had mixed reviews. And not a lot of films have yodeling as part of the score, and honestly, it works in this movie. I like this movie. I've always liked this movie. I don't think it's one of Cage's best, but that's why I picked it, because it's not one of his worst either. So you got painted up the diaper stealing scene. Yeah.
My folks had this on VHS and they loved it.
Yeah.
And I had never watched it.
That is where I saw it the first time, was on VHS, because my parents had it as well. That's funky. What'd you guys think?
Coen Brothers. I love the Coen Brothers. Oh no. We'll call him Elsa.
You guys are moving.
Oh, there you are, Elsa.
No, do not. My niece loved that song. Whenever I was over the house, that's all she played.
I didn't realize this was a Coen Brother movie. I love the Coen Brothers, but they're hit or miss.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, Laura.
This movie is a lot of fun. It's crazy. It's fun. Randall Tex Cobb, I think he'd come off of Uncommon Valor.
Yeah.
And that's the second movie he died with a grenade. Because in Uncommon Valor, he takes those grenades and jumps on that. Yeah.
Jumps out of the tower. Yeah.
He must be typecast. But this is a fun movie. Cage is great.
Scott?
Hadley? I know I should have seen it by now, at least 10, 15 years ago, but now I'm going to watch it because you guys convinced me it's good.
It's hysterical.
It's really funny, but it's dated now too.
Yeah, so, it is dated.
You got to factor that in. But honestly, some of the shit that these morons go through is just hilarious. And John Goodman and William Forsythe, who's also in The Rock, by the way.
Yeah.
They're just so stupid, and it's just the way they play the morons is just hilarious. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nicolas Cage is an idiot too in this film, but it's just funny.
It's lovable, and the great thing about this movie is if you saw it before Dumb and Dumber, is it makes it was that much ahead of its time, because everybody got on the bandwagon with Dumb and Dumber, but this movie it was kind of it flew low under the radar, sadly, because it is hysterical. I loved it. I want to rewatch it. I haven't, but I can still remember some of the craziness with the big biker guy and the baby on his motorcycle, and it is. If you liked, what is that show? My Name is Earl. That kind of humor, you will love this movie.
And if you like Coen Brother movies, this is one of their older ones, but
again, back to trivia. This is a movie that Nick Cage had to audition for 10 times.
Wow.
He said that they were laughing every time he auditioned, but they said they didn't know why.
Well, the movie only had a budget of $5 million. It had those big name actors in it, but it only had a $5 million budget, and it made $30 million. So I mean, despite shitty reviews, it had mixed reviews. Some people loved it, and some people hated it.
Right.
So I guess he couldn't have gotten paid a lot. None of them. It was also 1987, but I mean, that's a lot of big actors for a $5 million movie.
Well, it's a really good pick too, Rich, because it really shows a lot of his range. And I think that's one of the things that we've all done. We've picked movies that really show his range as an actor.
Well, he'd probably just come off Valley Girl or The Boy in Blue or one of those. Well, I remember seeing that one where he's rowing. He's a rower or whatever. What do they call those people that row, competitive? Scullers, thank you.
Yeah.
And that was actually a good movie. But it was, one of those kind of not teen, but it's like a drama. Valley Girl it's probably crappier than I remember.
He had come off of Peggy Sue Got Married, which
wow. Okay.
When he made this.
86.
Wow.
I hated Peggy Sue and I hated Nick Cage and Peggy Sue Got Married. Hated it.
Yeah, people are divided on that movie because wasn't that a hit?
My mother made it was a hit with my mom, her age group. They liked it. I mean, I thought it was terrible, but again, I think I was probably around 12, so 13. I just didn't appreciate it.
I'm looking at your list here, and in the same year as Raising Arizona, he did Moonstruck, and I know Cher was in that.
Okay.
And I was telling Scott before we got started that Moonstruck, my mom made me go see that at the theater with her. And every time it came on, we had to watch it, And I did not really appreciate the acting of Nick Cage in it. because I just couldn't get past. Again, being 12 or 13, it's just not a movie you're gonna really.
Right.
But I've watched it since, and it's everybody needs to see it once.
Mm-hmm.
His acting is phenomenal, and that's what set him apart. But Cher said she had seen him in Peggy Sue Got Married, and she said it was like a train wreck. But she's the one who advocated for him to be hired for Moonstruck. The director didn't want him.
Valley Girl is gold now. I liked it when I saw it, but I was, it was the 80s when I saw it.
They did a remake of Valley Girl. Don't watch it.
No.
Do not watch it.
Ghost Rider, yes, that's another.
Ghost Rider, the first one.
Yes.
The second one was it was vomit worthy. It was just ridiculous.
So okay, so what do we give this one then? And we'll move on.
I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay.
Damn.
It's hilarious. It just really made me laugh.
I'll give it a 4.5. It was something that I enjoyed when I saw it the first time, and I watched it again a few years ago, and I liked it then. And then I watched it last week, and I was like, you know what? It still holds up. It was funny, so I'll give it a 4.5. Cool.
Scott, just pull out a number. Just assume.
6.3.
Oh!
Aye.
That sounds about right. I'll give it a 4.0. A solid 4.0. It's an enjoyable movie. Mm-hmm. Everybody should watch it at least once. All right. I pulled out Season of the Witch. I really like medieval Templar, Crusader movies, and I thought this looked good. And
Sorry.
So Nick Cage and Ron Perlman are two Crusaders, Bayman and Felsen, and they fight. They're badasses. They fight in the Middle East. They're joking around while they're slaughtering infidels, right? Then they come to a massacre of women and children, and they've had it. They don't want to kill women, children, and so they desert. They go back to London, or not London. They go back to Europe. They go back to Saint-Tropez. They go back to Europe anyway, and they're deserters. And they get found out because the stable boy drops a bag that's got Nicolas Cage's sword in it, that's got his crest on it, that shows he's a crusader, and he should be over in the Middle East fighting right now, not here. So they get arrested, locked up, and they get a chance to see I think it's a cardinal, something like the cardinal bishop, something like that. Whoa, we're getting more Scots.
Whoa.
I don't know how I did that.
This is
Holy
great.
Crap.
One of us is not me. Face off.
Sure. Which one is it?
One of us.
My clone just got exterminated.
So that they're drug in to see this cardinal, and this cardinal is played by Christopher Lee with some great Black Plague makeup on. It's just gross looking, sores on his face and everything. And he wants them to escort this witch, this powerful black witch that is causing the plague throughout the country, to a castle to be exorcised by a bunch of priests there, a bunch of monks. And they refuse at first. They don't want to do it. They're done working for the church and everything. So they throw them back in their cell, and then they start to think about their fate. They'd probably be hung and then drowned and hung, whatever. So they decide to do it. So they take the witch, and three other men escort him along with another monk, and supernatural things start to happen along the way. And this has Robert Sheehan, who's in the Umbrella Academy. He plays the I can't think of his name, Hans, something like that. He's got a German name, but he's great in it. He plays Sir Kay. Well, he's a altar boy that wants to be a knight, and they make him a knight. Anyway, to me, totally inaccurate in a lot of things, but it was a fun watch. If you like sword movies with some magic thrown in, and the camaraderie between Ron Perlman and Nicolas Cage is great. And there's actually some good actors in this.
Claire Foy. She plays Queen Elizabeth in that series on Netflix.
Right. And you have the guy that was pulling the wagon. He was in Snatch. He was Brad Pitt's sidekick.
Stephen Graham.
Okay.
Stephen Graham.
Yeah.
And then the other night, I can't think of his name, but he's a good actor too, and he's been in a lot of stuff. So there were good actors in it, and I thought that's what helped this movie a lot. Plus, you had Christopher Lee in it. That was like,
I was going to say Christopher Lee is the highlight of the film.
And
I love this kind of movie too. I'm a sucker for these sword and sorcery movies. So I'm down with it. I had seen it. I'm not gonna lie, I've probably seen it 2 or 3 times. But
yeah, I mean, it's a low budget movie, but it's not. It doesn't feel like that. You know, it doesn't. The acting in it, the special effects are decent. You know, the CGI is a little wonky at the end with the demon and everything.
Well, and I will say, I knew why you picked this. When I read that Nicolas Cage had been attracted to this because it was a tribute to the Roger Corman movies from the 60s.
Right. And he wanted to work with Christopher Lee because Christopher Lee was a big influence in his.
Well, because Christopher Lee is just freaking awesome.
He's
the man.
Yes, he is.
But this is a quote from Christopher Lee is, do you know what it feels like to stab a man?
That's right. That's right. That's right. And at the very beginning of this, when they're hanging these witches over the bridges,
it's a great scene.
Yeah, the soldier, the captain of the guard or whatever, is Rory McCann, who played the Hound in Game of Thrones. Just that little quick scene.
Yeah.
In Hot Fuzz, he played the big guy in Hot Fuzz.
The big guy in Hot Fuzz.
So, what'd you guys think? Anybody? Bueller?
I love this movie. I've seen this movie I probably 3 or 4 times. When it came out, I didn't see it at the movie theater. I don't even know if it was at the movie theater. I saw it. I got the Blu-ray of it, and I watched it. I was like, "Oh my god, that's great!" I watched it with my wife. She was like, that was all right." And I've seen it 4 or 5 times since it's been out. It's really well acted.
Yes.
They you can see how the Crusades were going and why they didn't want to, do the stuff that the other Crusaders were doing.
Right.
The witch stuff was fantastic, but honestly, I think the best scene in the whole movie was the one you just mentioned, where they were throwing the witches off of the, or people they suspected to be witches, or just kind of might have sort of been witches off the bridge, and they ended up being witches. It was really cool. So I like that a lot.
I like when the priest says, or the monk says, "We got to pull them up," and the captain of the guard says, "They're not going to get any deader," and he walks off. Yeah, but that is a good scene, especially when he's pulling the bodies up and what happens there.
Yep, I like that.
So what do you think, Hadley?
Like I said, I love a good sword and sorcery movie. This is not my favorite work of Nick Cage, but this is a genre I truly enjoy. Personally, if I ever see anything, like I said, I've probably watched it 3 or 4 times just because this is the kind of movie I like to watch.
Right.
So, well, I won't say it's my favorite Nick Cage movie. It's a solid movie for me.
That's good. It reminds me of that movie, The Black Death, but with levity. If you ever seen that movie, Black Death, with Sean Bean, where the premise is similar. You know?
There's another one with
Vin Diesel.
Well, and there's another one with Richard. What's his name? Pervoy.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot. I mean, this is a very, and I'm gonna watch them every time I see them on my suggested movies. So there's a lot that they're very similar in the genre. But what is his name?
Richard. He was in Resident Evil, the first movie.
He was in Rome, the series, and he played Mark Antony.
And he was in that Stabby series with Kevin Bacon. What was that series with Kevin Bacon where he was
James Purfoy?
Yes. Purfoy, yeah. I was just gonna Google him.
In that series that Kevin Bacon had, where he was an FBI agent and cult.
Yeah.
He played the cult.
He played the cult leader.
Yeah. And Kevin Bacon just drove me crazy in that series. He never looked behind him. And never took anybody with him. He never looked behind him, and he's always getting knocked out or taken prisoner. Anyway, what do you think, Scott? Did you watch it?
No. I've been on a writing binge this week with 3 short stories in the book, so I was a very bad boy this week. But I'm going to watch that one because Hadley's description of it made it sound very interesting.
It's a fun movie. Oh, mine did.
It's a good flick.
My description didn't. I think yours.
Well, I want to watch it again to see the witches being thrown over the bridge because I don't remember that scene.
Oh yeah, that's
right at the front. It's right at the beginning of the film.
Front.
You build a bridge out of her.
There's another one of these movies with Jeff Bridges too.
Oh yeah, The Seventh Son.
We
Right?
should have a night that's
right.
what we do is all the movies that could be exchanged with the same description.
Right. So what would you give this one, Rich?
I give it a 4.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Scott, throw a number out there.
7.0.
Damn.
Nice. See, you're on board now. Hadley.
I'll give it a 4.
I'd give it a 4 too. It's a solid movie to watch.
It is.
And the acting in it's good. It's not like Grand Isle or what's that one where he's a pervert at this motel. There's a window and he peeks in on everybody. Have you seen that one yet?
No.
Oh,
I don't know what that is.
It's bad.
Okay.
Don't watch it.
Now we've got 10 minutes to talk about all the other Nick Cage movies that we love.
Yeah, well,
What is your worst?
On here.
Worst. Willy's Wonderland is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about classic. It was entertaining. I'm looking at these now. I'm trying to. Actually, you know what? That second Ghost Rider was just terrible.
Not.
I just downloaded Cake in the Damned on Audible.
No, I haven't.
Second Ghost Rider was bad. I don't even remember half of it. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
The first one was really good, though.
Yeah, it was.
The first one was good,
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing about the second one I remember is when they turned that giant carving thing into the Ghost Rider's flaming motorcycle. So
I didn't even remember that.
but the worst movie I rented because it was with Nick Cage and John Goodman. And I thought, how can this be bad? Bringing Out the Dead.
Oh, you hate that one.
I 30 minutes into it, I stopped watching it. And I was living in Virginia and my family came down and I said, we rented it from Blockbuster. For those of you that are young, that's a place where we used to go and rent videotapes. The family's never forgiven me for that. Every time I pick a movie, they all yell, no, you pick Bringing Out the Dead. So.
I have never seen that one. I can tell you I've never seen that one.
So
I don't know that I have either.
Color Out of Space was one of the ones I watched this week, and I just got tired of it and turned it off. So
yeah, the whole premise of the movie was they were EMTs that were bringing the dead to like mortuaries, but I think one of them could talk to the dead. It was like 30 minutes into the movie, there was like nothing.
well, one that y'all haven't mentioned is Vampire's Kiss.
I've never seen that. I've heard it's horrible. That's where he ate a spider, right, or something.
Cockroaches.
Cockroach.
Oh,
Yeah.
He
And
said
Chance.
three takes to eat the cockroach.
Oh man. And Chance, National Treasure. Yeah, those are good movies. Those are fun.
Yeah,
movies.
they are.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Those are
movies.
great movies.
It's like blasphemy mentioning him while we're mentioning these movies. Prisoners of Ghostland. I tried to watch that. I could not get into it. That's his new one. It's on AMC, I think.
The
Of course
Wicker
you do.
Man.
Of course you do. Wicker
I'm
Man.
surprised no one likes it either, Tony. I liked it myself. I think it's one of those I've watched a couple of times.
I've never seen it.
No.
I think it's going to be something to watch before you watch Renfield.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I watched
yeah.
this week. I watched
I
The
haven't seen
Running
that.
with the Devil, but I want to give an honorable mention to because I really wanted y'all to see Frozen Ground.
That's
which
a
is
good one.
movie I love.
Yeah, The Rock's.
Yeah, The Rock's a good flick.
That's a good one, Hadley. It's actually Cusack does some good acting in it. That's before he kind. I like Cusack in spurts. You know.
He's one of those that I think it all depends on the team he's working with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the original Wicker Man is a masterpiece, Mark.
First
It
one, it was great. They've done 2 since then, and they just.
Oh, I didn't know they did 2. That's why I wouldn't watch the remake with Nicolas Cage. It's like, why remake a classic with Christopher Lee?
You didn't miss anything. It was just terrible.
No, you didn't. How about Into the Spider-Verse? Have you seen that?
Yes, I did. It was actually pretty good.
He was great in that. Huh?
Yeah, he was actually pretty good.
He's a huge comic fan.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, in Spider-Man, the one that had William Dafoe in it, he was the original pick by the director for the Green Goblin.
Oh, wow.
I can't see anybody but Willem Dafoe being the Green Goblin now. Well, not after he played it like that.
I was going to say what I read was that was before the guy had seen Dafoe's thing. It changed his mind.
Right.
But
nobody does that shit crazy like Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Well, hello. Hot kettle. There's Nicolas Cage he loves comic books, and he's a big defender of comic books.
Well, he wanted to play Superman, and they were actually going to make the movie. They were actually doing pre-production and everything, and I forgot the reason why it never got made. But they had the suit made and everything. Kevin Smith has a documentary about that.
He's Now, let me preface this by saying my first husband looked like Nicolas Cage. So when I say this, I don't mean this in a disparaging way, but he just doesn't have the looks for Superman.
Yeah.
No, you just don't see it.
He doesn't have the youth for Superman anymore either.
And he doesn't have that actor. He doesn't have that vibe about him as Superman.
Right. He doesn't.
No, because he's got a crazy vibe.
That's right, Tony.
Yeah, that's right. Kick-Ass. Forgot about that.
Which one was Kick-Ass?
The one with the little girl.
Great flick. Chloe Grace Moretz. And Kick-Ass is actually he something happens to him and he damages his nerves and he can't feel pain like a normal person, but he's still just a kid. And so Nicolas Cage is excuse me, he's the father of this other girl named Hit Girl, and she's actually a badass, and Kick-Ass is just kind of an idiot. And Kick-Ass gets famous, and she starts to help him. It's actually it's a really.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it is really good.
You would love that.
Too.
Yeah, the sequel's actually good too.
Yeah.
Well, another one that we haven't mentioned is Honeymoon in Vegas.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's all right.
No.
Well, that was one where he played an Elvis impersonator, right?
Yeah.
So I was surprised no one mentioned that. I think it was a depressing movie. Wild at Heart. He won awards for Wild at Heart, but no one mentioned it.
Yeah, I've never seen that one either.
See, there's just so many that we really we could spend the rest of the year talking about Nick Cage movies.
Now, have you seen Snake Eyes? I like that one.
I believe I've seen that one.
It's a Brian De Palma movie, so it's got a twist to it.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving Las Vegas is a decent movie.
Yeah, kind of sad, but
yeah.
Video game characters.
Guarding Tess. I had to go see that with my mom.
That's a great movie.
Let's see.
World Trade Center is pretty good, but that's just a big, drama movie.
Yeah.
But it is pretty good.
City of Angels.
City of Angels. That's right. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about that one is the Goo Goo Dolls score.
Yep.
And somebody was talking about Drive Angry now.
That was.
Has anyone seen Mandy? Because I wanted to watch that and couldn't find it.
I hear it is. Go ahead.
I watched the first 10 minutes of it, and I didn't get through it. But it wasn't that I just couldn't watch. I didn't have the time. It was okay the first 10 minutes, but a lot of people. I mean, Tony just said it was great too. I'd very much like to finish it, but I never got around to it. So I think that might be the next Nick Cage on my list, and I want to see Pig as well. I've heard good things about that.
Pig is supposed to be like Nick Cage being Nick Cage at the height of his career. Now, whether or not that's true, I haven't seen it, but that's what I heard. That's what the spin's saying about it.
Is that what the spin says?
That's what the spin is saying,
Is that what the cool kids say?
I wouldn't know.
ton of movies on this list, Hadley, that I have never even heard of.
I know.
The
Well,
Humanity
I
Bureau.
was telling Scott, I had no idea that Nicolas Cage was in A Time to Kill. A Time to Kill was filmed literally right here, and everybody I know, if there was anybody famous, we were all talking about it. That they were going out in town, going to eat, going dancing, and that's when I was out doing dancing, and never heard the first thing about Nicolas Cage being involved in that project.
Did he play Renfield in A Time to Kill?
I'm excited about the Renfield movie.
It's a comedy too.
Good.
I figured out it's a comedy. Okay, I looked at some of the cast that was in it, and I think it's a comedy.
I hope so, because his outfit is so bizarre.
Yeah, that's right. He looks like you said, he looks like Liberace.
Well, they say the unbearable weight of massive talent is supposed to be incredible too, and it's going to be one of those that puts him back on his top. So,
well, good, because he is an entertaining actor. I mean,
he's
definitely fun to watch.
Definitely, that's my 10 o'clock alarm, guys. Sorry,
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock. We're gonna run over. It's been a great night talking about Nick Cage movies, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah. We should do this with other actors like Travolta, Connery,
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
yes,
I think so. We need to change up our stuff. I wish that we would get some comments from our lovely fandom, our weird kids out there, to let us know what they're interested in hearing us say and do. But I definitely think the Quentin Tarantino night was a lot of fun, and this has been a lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get you, son.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should change it up where we do this every once a month, where we pick an actor that we just dissect.
Sandra Bullock.
Ooh.
Sandra Bullock.
Ooh.
Bruce Willis.
I'll go you one better. If I can think of it.
I'll go you one better, just not now.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
I'll
do Keanu Reeves. Yeah, John Wick.
Constantine.
Oh yeah, Constantine. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, I love Constantine.
But,
I want to watch what is it, 47 Ronin?
Oh, that's actually
it was okay.
It's different.
I said I've been wanting to watch it again. I didn't say it was great. Just want to watch it.
My wife,
I watch so many movies over and over again that are crap, but I like them.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. My wife threw wine on the ceiling when we were watching Constantine, and it wasn't even a scary scene. It was just a jump scene at the very beginning of it when the cars come in. I don't want to wreck it for anybody. She's like, "What the?" And she threw wine on the ceiling. It was funny.
John Connery. That's one of my favorite Shia LaBeouf movies. Is Constantine.
Yeah.
Is he in it?
Yeah.
Yes, he's the taxi driver.
Oh, okay.
He's a kid. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chaz Palmer.
That's right. That's
the whole Constantine. They should do something more with that. That was something that it just didn't get the attention. It didn't get the budget. It could be. I mean, those are some graphic novels I really like.
I read somewhere, at least I think I read somewhere, that there's talk about turning Constantine into a TV series.
There was
a short-lived series. Yes. It wasn't that great.
I like the guy that played Constantino. I thought he did a good job.
He did.
He was more true to the graphic novel than Keanu Reeves.
Well, have you guys seen Legends of Tomorrow? That's the
yeah.
It's a DC thing, and they travel through time. And what they do is they grab characters from the other things like Green Arrow, the Flash, and Constantine's in it. He's in it. He's in it a few times, 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Everybody is loving on the Top Gun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to wait till it's its own stream service, which I heard Tom Cruise wouldn't let it stream. So.
Oh, I bet. See, Tina won't give Tom Cruise any money because.
Well, that's.
I'm not a Tom Cruise fan.
Yeah, not really a Tom Cruise, but I will say I went to see Top Gun when it came out at the theater in whenever, and at the time it was the movie. And from everything, again, my age group that has been to see it, they said it holds up. That it does tribute well to the first one.
I have not heard a bad thing about it. You know, I'd like to see it, but I
Oh,
don't want
wait
to give
till
him
it's
my
streaming.
money.
I'll wait till it's streaming.
Yeah, right.
Roger that.
Definitely.
So next week, what do you guys want to do?
Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Tell Tina. I want Tina's permission. I want her to sign off on that.
Right?
We're doing Tom
Movies
Cruise
with Tom
movies. I'm
Cruise
going to be
and
sick
Pee
next
Wee
week.
Herman.
If we were
I'll
doing Tom
do.
Cruise movies, I would so pick The Outsiders.
Oh yeah, that one's a classic.
It's a good movie. It's a good book.
I've never read the book.
Yeah, it was Pony Boy.
Yeah.
That maybe that's what we should do, or movies that have a lot of character or actors that have gone on to do great things. Because that movie, I mean, and another one, I'm going to drop another one, Red Dawn.
Yep.
Oh God, I love that one. The original Red Dawn.
Yes, the original Red Dawn.
I actually never saw the remake with Thor in it.
It's not the same movie.
It's not the same.
I always wondered why the North Koreans invaded, considering that the North Koreans wouldn't be able to find the United States with their technology. And I found out it was because they were originally planning on using China. But China threw a hissy fit and said the movie would never play, so Hollywood changed it to North Korea.
That makes sense. That's a John Milius movie. He made Conan.
Oh, so Tony, just to drop this summer, or excuse me, I think it's late in the year, there's going to be a Interview with the Vampire series on AMC.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yay.
I love Ian Rice.
I'm sorry, just sparkly vampires or vampires in puffy shirts. Like, oh, I kill people. No. I cannot bring myself. I know I need to. I have never watched Interview with a Vampire. I just can't bring myself to watch it.
It's better than you think it's going to be.
It's actually,
I didn't really want to watch it.
Quite a good movie.
You would really like it. Did you read the books?
No, I can't read her. I read one Anne Rice book.
No, well, you read the dirty Cinderella stories, didn't you? Sleeping Beauty. See, you read the.
I read the one that was all homoerotic in the castle, and all the guys were doing each other, and I think it was the Cinderella.
Mem Knocked the Devil.
Oh God, it was just.
Yeah, I stopped reading Anne Rice after Mem Knocked the Devil, but no, her Interview with the Vampire books were good, and The Witches, all those were good books.
But the movie's, it's better than you think it is, Scott.
All right,
I really want to see it.
I'll give it a shot. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to get going in a minute.
Yes. Sorry, guys, we're running over. And I'm going to say thank you for showing up tonight. We appreciate you. Always love our weird family. And same time next week. And we will update y'all as to what movies we pick.
Okay. Tom Cruise.
Until next time, you know where to find us. Linktree, linktr.ee/Weird Realities. It'll link you up to all these guys to see the fabulous stuff they're doing. Be sure to go to our website, www.weirdrealities.net, and sign up for our newsletter that is forthcoming. We will be talking soon. Until next time, stay weird.
Good night. Thank you again.